Yeah, and if you are in the U.S. and last week's results are doom and gloom for you, and you're thinking about leaving the country, whether permanently or temporarily or otherwise, now you've tuned into the right place. Regardless of what your motivations are, you want to talk about going somewhere that's not here. We're all about that.
We got you. Got you. We'll give you the information that you need. Matter of fact, are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Ah, that's why. That's that explanation in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They either learned from their mistakes or just got extremely lazy 4 years later, one way or the other.
Yeah, a lot's happened since we last talked here in Mexico. As you know, I am now running the improv here in Playa del Carmen. I gave my Toastmaster speech. So you can't talk about one set of big news. What's the big news you can't talk about?
I don't know.
What up, sexy world travelers? It's your boy, Big Sexy, here with a big thank you to our big, sexy world travelers. They're the folks who went over to bullwiththebutthole.com and subscribe to the podcast. I want to say a big shout out to Billy with cruisehabit.com, Lee Popsicle, Margaret White, Angel Quo, Bree, Chris Lowry, Galen Diggs, Jesus, Joshua Tarr, Michael McKenna, Sebastian Robbins, and Smitty Scoop. If you would like to have your name read out before the show, just become a big, sexy world traveler and subscribe to the podcast. Swing on over to bullwiththebutthole.com and join the fun. Safe travels. I shouldn't be as pleased with myself as I am right now.
Hey, it works. What is up, all you big, sexy world travelers? Those of you who Big Sexy has thanked, and those who he is soon to thank. We are here with another exciting episode. This is not just going to be an episode about Big Sexy pleasing himself, which of course he has done. But there's so much more that we have in store for you. There's a lot of changes that have happened. Some that we can talk about, some that we won't yet. But here we go. What's new with you?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this is hitting your ear holes, I hope that it is good. You know what's hilarious is, did you hear the applause?
I heard something that sounded like you knocking over a tray of nuts.
I hit the applause button, but because my headphones are plugged into the laptop and not the podcast, the pod track, I can't hear the sound effects. So I hope it played. I'll find out when I go back to edit and listen to the recording if it played or not, and if I'm cutting that part out or whatever. But yeah, man, how's it going?
It's going all right. It's man, just it's been kind of a whirlwind the past week or so, between things happening in my life and things happening external. There was a political election, I think, last week that happened. That was a thing.
That was a thing.
We're not that type of podcast, so we're just going to leave it right there and move on.
We'll leave that to the other podcasts. There are many other podcasts within our podcast family that will deal with the elections. Shout out to We're Not Wrong. Shout out to Congressional Dish. Shout out to Politics. They will discuss all that shit. We here at Big Sexy Digital Nomad talk about travel and fun and hypnosis and shenanigans and fun.
Yeah. And if you are in the US and last week's results are doom and gloom for you, and you're thinking about leaving the country, whether permanently or temporarily or otherwise, now you've tuned into the right place. Regardless of what your motivations are, you want to talk about going somewhere that's not here. We're all about that.
We got you. We got you. We'll give you the information that you need. As a matter of fact, if you want questions on how that shit can be done, ask away. Shoot us an email at bigsexynomad@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get back with you, tell you all about how to do this digital nomad lifestyle. I realized last year we talked about it. Last month was our 2-year anniversary
Wild.
of doing this podcast. I've been out in the world for over a year and a half, right? Traveling back and forth, making pit stops back home in the States, but spending a lot of time traveling the world, learning a lot of things, meeting a lot of people, and so I've gathered some knowledge. So if you want some of that knowledge, shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to answer your questions about it. That's again at bigsexynomad@gmail.com.
That's right. That's the spot.
Yeah. As you can see, if you're watching the video, if you're on our YouTube channel and you're seeing this, or you're live with us, I don't think anybody's live just yet because it always takes a minute. Oh, we got Escapeaholic has joined us on the Instagram. You can see
cool.
I am currently outside. I'm at Acacao, which is a chocolate cafe here in Playa del Carmen. There's a chain, so there's several of them, but this one is like right around by where we live. So it's really close. They have better Wi-Fi than we do at the apartment. However, the upstairs where I'm normally at is crowded, so I am outdoors and outside. But it's lovely. Thank goodness it's covered because it just rained. But there's a nice breeze. The rain kind of cooled off the air, so I'm not sweating.
That's nice.
But you may get some silhouette as the lights behind me. But we'll make it work. It is what it is. Yeah. So what big things are happening out there?
Well, some stuff I can't talk about yet, but I will talk about next week. And so I'll tease that to just tune in next week for something that might be big, or it might be a big flop. Who knows? We'll find out. But man, just busy. I'm on a ship in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks now.
Exciting.
And even less than 3 weeks by the time that folks are hearing this. And that's super cool. And we got comments in here. We've got somebody in Twitch asking us a question about our favorite Among Us map. Is this a game that you play?
I actually don't play Among Us. No. That's the one with the people who are sus, right?
I think so.
Sus came from with the little characters. We got to figure out who is like the bad guy in this world. I tried to play it. I didn't have the brain capacity to hang on to understand what's happening with it. So I'd have to say my favorite Among Us map is the first one, because that's as far as I've gotten.
Okay, a little further than me.
Yeah.
I know that it's something that my children play. I have very little awareness of it as well. I appreciate you asking. I guess that there's an expectation on Twitch that we'll talk about, or that we are gamers. We do have games that we play in our own right. I will say that I just last week, I think, finished up the new Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom.
Okay.
And
I likewise finished maybe about 2 months ago, finished the Fallout 4.
Oh, nice.
I finished one of the storylines. Now I kind of want to go back and make the separate choices, right? Like I finished it as a member of the Railroad. Now I want to go back and finish it as a member of the what's the name of the people, the scientists, the one that everybody's scared of, the Institute.
The Institute, yeah.
The Institute.
This is the one where you're trying to find your son.
Right. You're trying to find your son, and then you do end up finding him. Spoiler: he's running the Institute, and he's old as fuck. He's older than you are. But I finished that storyline, but as a part of the
he is more aged.
He is more aged, right? Right.
He is. You are older, but you were frozen in time for 200 years. So
Right. Yeah. So
yeah.
he is aged. Uh, anyhow, yeah. So I finished that, and then I want to go back. So that has some replay value. What I'm trying to see if they get to a place where you can replay it with all the shit you already earned and go back through it. Hopefully you can. I don't know if it's possible yet. I'll find out soon enough. But yeah, we do have some gameplay that we do here at BSDN, but we're also not a gaming podcast either. Yeah. Yeah, a lot's happened since we last talked here in Mexico.
Okay.
As you know, I am now running the improv here in Playa del Carmen. I had my first improv workshop that I completely ran from top to bottom. Funny story. So we're looking for a location to host the improv, and one of our fellow members had told me about another guy that in the group named Sam had a rooftop pool area or a rooftop area, his own private rooftop where he has hosted before. And I was all cool. So I had reached out to my friend Sharon, who had locked down. I'd asked her if she could hold it down for us, and she said she'll check. Turns out she actually had booked it for us, but I have ADHD and a lot of shit happened, and I completely spaced that she had locked it down for us, and I missed out. And then everybody was talking about another place, and I started looking into that, and so it was a big clusterfuck. But I go on my contacts to talk to Sam about using his rooftop. And I reach out to one of the three Sams I have in my contact, uh, and I end up contacting the wrong one. The Sam that I reach out to runs a hotel out here called Hotel Cachet. It's an apartment hotel area that has a rooftop. We've done the line dancing at this rooftop. When I hosted the line dance, helped the karaoke at the line dance social, that's where it was. And I got a chance to meet him that night, and we talked and everything. But I did essentially gaslight this Sam into thinking that he and I had talked about using his rooftop for the improv. We had never, he and I had never talked.
You've got two different Sams, each of which have hotel rooftops that are potential event spaces.
Right. One, it's his personal private rooftop, and the other one, it's a public rooftop that he's in charge of.
Gotcha. Okay. Different people though.
Completely different people. And I thought I was talking to the same person, and I didn't realize it until the next day when the other Sam finally put a picture up on his profile. And I went, wait a minute. That's the Sam that I thought. And then I looked back at the other one, and I actually looked at his profile picture, and it's a profile picture of the Hotel Cachet. And I was like, oh, some of them a bitch. All right, well, I will. So I messaged the Sam that I've been talking with, and hey, first off, let me apologize. You and I never had this conversation about me using your roof as the improv. But he's like, it's okay, it's cool. I really want to check it out. I hope you guys should come up and use it this Friday. It turns out, because initially he was like, we do it on Fridays, but every Friday is set for bachata. It's bachata dancing. So maybe you can do it on Saturday, which is something I kind of want to work on anyhow, is doing it on Saturdays. But he messaged me back like, hey, I just got finished talking to the bachata people. They want to go every other Friday, and it just so happens to be on the opposite Fridays that you want to do improv. So it's available. And I'm all cool. All right, we'll do it there. It went well. It went great. The problem is it's a public space, so there is, music and some spectators, which I know made some of the players feel a little self-conscious. Doesn't affect me none. I could give a shit. But we had a great time. The improv went well. They played a lot of games. But now I got to see if we're going to do a different place in 2 weeks or go back to the same place. We'll probably do a different place. I'll see what comes available.
Now, will you gear this up so that every so often your group does ticketed performances, or what's the plan, or even?
So the plan is I'm going to use this as a funnel to do my own private classes
Okay.
and teach improv privately that's more improv focused and not kind of just a generalized have fun kind of class. This one's going to be much more, this is what we're doing for improv. And that one will be paid. And then hopefully that one will lead into a showcase, a ticketed event somewhere down the line. Yeah. Fingers and toes. That's the goal. That's the goal. We'll see how it works with the holiday season coming up. I have a feeling that when I reach the ticket level status, it will be in, January or February, somewhere around there.
Cool.
Yeah. What else has happened this week? I gave my Toastmaster speech. For those on our Patreon, all our paid members, those who got a shout out at the beginning of this episode, they have access to the video of my Toastmaster speech called What's in a Name. And I put it up on the Patreon for paid members. And what I like about it is every now and then everybody asks, where did the name Big Sexy come from? How do you get it? Well, I now have a bonus episode that I can send it to them. It's called What's in a Name. And the audio version of the speech was released on Saturday. So thank you to all who listened to it. I hope you liked it and chimed in. And now you know the origin of the name. Shout out to the Swinging Johnson brothers who gave us the name.
So I saw a meme the other day that I don't know why. I know that I have not sent this to you, but I totally should have. And it is a reflection of something that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Let me find it. It is a picture of a guy in the background, and the foreground is a hand of the narrator, so to speak, of this meme, holding a business card. And the caption on the meme at the top is, I asked this guy, quote, how tall are you? And he handed me this. And the business card says, yes, I am tall. I am 6'10". No, I'm not kidding. Yes, that is tall. No, I do not play basketball. I play volleyball. Yes, seeing the tops of everyone's head is weird. Yes, the weather is nice up here. This has been a great conversation. So almost identical to what we spoke about a couple of weeks ago with the origin of your name and that series of questions that you inevitably get in order. Although we put it together in a context of, wouldn't it be great to have this tucked away as a quote unquote prediction of, I knew you were going to ask me these things. Let them ask the questions, answer the questions as you normally would, and then hand them the envelope to be like, here you go. Here's a recap of the conversation that we just had that I knew that we would have 6 weeks ago, or whatever you want to say.
Whatever, right.
Because this is and this idea springs from me having a normal or an abnormal government name.
Right.
I have my own series of questions about the origin of my name. And do you have siblings? And what is your middle name? And what are your siblings' names? And why are your siblings' names normal, whatever that is.
That's a backward ass way to ask the question, why isn't yours?
Right.
Why isn't your name? So your parents obviously had the concept of regular names.
They got there.
Why are you different? Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
That's why. That's that explanation in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They either learned from their mistakes or just got extremely lazy 4 years later, one way or the other.
Right. They went, we shouldn't do that to our child.
Yeah, this didn't go as we thought it was going to go.
Right. That's hilarious. Yeah. So that Toastmaster speech went over very well. Turns out, I knew this already, but I'm a really good speaker. There is a Toastmaster speech contest here that I'm going to enter. So, listeners, stay tuned. I will keep you updated on the progress of that. I still need to register, read the rules, figure it all out. This week, I'm evaluating a speaker. I'm actually evaluating the speaker who evaluated me.
Oh,
So that's a little twist of fate. Her name is Olivia. Shout out Olivia. She's a good speaker. I've heard her do a speech already, and I'm looking forward to what she has to talk about this Thursday. As we're recording this is Monday. We normally record these on a Thursday, but like last week was. Did we record last Thursday? We didn't record last Thursday. It's been hectic. It's been kind of super busy, what have you. Yeah, but so you can't talk about one set of big news. What's the big news you can talk about?
I don't know. But the problem is, and this will make much more sense next week to others, Big Sexy knows the news. So
I do.
Not that it's a thing yet. It's the gateway to a thing. And I'll know so much more about it literally by the time we record the next episode. In fact, before that, by the time that this drops, I'll know a lot more about the news that may or may not be news, but it's going to be. It has given me pause because it's going to, if it happens, it's going to drastically impact certain elements of my schedule. And some of that has to do with me applying or not applying to speak at some conferences that are looking for presenters. I was going to, but for the fact, and I still might do it because it doesn't, it doesn't matter if the thing happens and I have to cancel something, because all of this is going to be known well in advance, that I'm not like leaving somebody in a lurch 2 days before a major magic conference. So I'll probably end up applying to some of this stuff anyway, and having to not do it if certain things happen, all of which we'll talk about next week.
Stay tuned for episode 113.
Yeah. So, and that's, we're going to actually talk about it. It's not one of those we're saying that we're going to talk about it, then we'll forget to talk about it. No, we'll actually talk about it next week. I promise. You don't have to worry about us being sus or anything like that. We'll actually do it. But yeah, it's man, things are just busy. Lot of stuff going on in general. With the law practice, some website stuff. We talked about me creating a dedicated to fundraiser events website on here yet?
Oh yeah, 100%. We definitely talked about it. I don't think we even made a banner for it. I don't think so, not yet.
Okay.
But we did talk about having the dedicated website.
Yeah, so that thing is starting to pick up traction.
Oh yeah, we got it.
There we go. That's it. Yeah. I had so it just recently launched, as many of you know. And again, knew enough that I wasn't 100% sure if we had talked about it on here. But that banner wouldn't be there waiting for us if I had not. I had one of the preliminary quarterly check-ins with my website people, and they're like, these numbers are a little lower than we'd like to see them. I said, you realize that at the time that you've pulled those numbers, that this website's been, you're telling me these are quarterly numbers, but the website's only been live for a month, barely a month, and had over 600 visitors to it, which is actually kind of a big deal for something brand new, which tells me everything that I need to know, that this website, once it really sinks into the Google algorithm, is likely going to blow up.
Nice.
And then I'm going to expand it. And the way I'm going to expand it, I mean, it was always my thought, and why that this website is more about the concept of a unique fundraiser event and less about me, is that I know that geographically and time frame wise, there's only so much that I can do. And I'm now in the season that many of my events are starting to rebook or already have rebooked, which means as I get new events, eventually that calendar full of events that are going to look to rebook is going to be such that I don't have room for a whole lot more other stuff. Now it's going to take me a couple of years to get to that point, but once I've hit that critical mass point and just the inherent, there will be geographical difficulties, there will be, schedule conflicts. I'm going to start to seek other entertainers to basically affiliate with the concept, with the website. And what that's going to do is allow me, because the business model has changed, where I used to take half of the ticket sales and then cap that at a certain number. I've scaled back on the percentage of the ticket sales that we take, and that I and some other folks here, including my daughter, a senior in high school, sell sponsorships to the events. So most of my money on these fundraiser shows are through sponsorships that myself and my team sell. And it's still, I'm doing plenty of this work, but I'm not doing enough that it makes that sales job a full-time job for anybody. However, if over time, if this thing gets bigger and I link up with other performers that want to do these shows, I can help them make more money, as well as turn that job of selling these sponsorships into more of a full-time gig, because it's not just my shows, but it's my shows and a handful of other performers and a growing list of other performers as this thing grows. So there's a lot of cool, fun potential there.
That's awesome.
I mean, if we have any listeners who are looking for like that side hustle sort of gig where you're making phone calls and sending emails and putting flyers and sponsorship information into the hands of business owners in specific geographic markets where these shows are going to be, right now that could be anywhere, and that's going to continue to expand and be pretty much anywhere. I mean, even I in a short period of time have done shows all over the country, and will continue to do more.
Speaking of which, I may have found a place for a show here in Playa.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of open spaces that are performance based. There's a cafe here called Buzos Cafe. Anytime I go to a place that has a raised stage, I mark it in my brain.
Yeah.
I go, okay, here we go. This is a perfect spot for a show, whether it be an improv show, open mic, or hypnosis show. This is a perfect spot. Buzos Cafe is one of those here in Playa. So I have one for sure. I'm going to try to find out who books the shit there and talk to them and get to figure that out.
I'm going to give you right now what I consider to be the ideal lead-in question. So you've gone into a venue, you've assessed that, they've got a raised platform of some sort. This would work for X type of event. And again, X can be anything. It can be improv, it can be comedy, it can be hypnosis, it can be a magic show, whatever. Look to see what material they're promoting. Find out what kind of events that they're putting on that stage right now. Musicians are the lowest hanging fruit, super easy, super popular, whatever it is. Figure out what it is that they're already doing. And then when you find out the person who's booking it, let's say it's acoustic musicians. Words today. Hey man, how are you? I see that you've got this stage here and you guys are doing events, and it looks like you're doing occasionally, whether it's ticketed or not ticketed, it doesn't matter. You just say what it is. You're booking musicians here. When is the last time you had an improv show here on this stage? When is the last time you had a comedy show on this stage? When is the last time you had a hypnotist? When is the last time you had a magician here on that stage? And that opens the door to the conversation. It's not, do you want to? Because it's not a question that somebody can give a hard no to.
Right.
When is the last time?
Because I'm not asking whether or not you want it initially.
Right. You're assuming that they've done this before.
Right.
And then your response is either, they're going to respond and be like, oh, it's been years. Okay. Did the pandemic mess that up or whatever? And then you're gonna have you're asking them questions about them. You're asking them questions about their establishment, and it's like, I'm part of this, or I've got a podcast partner that's a hypnotist, or I've got a good friend who right now he's on cruise ships a lot, but boy oh boy is he a funny ass magician. He would be perfect to have down here. Whoever it is you're trying to book for, it doesn't matter.
And I tell you, the good thing is they had a event yesterday, right before Mahjong, called PDCS, hosted
Okay.
by my friend here, Mike. Shout out to Mike, who's a heart attack survivor. So we're happy he's still with us. Goes by Dynamic Mike. And he had us talk about the events we were doing. I talked about, he introduced me and he said, you want to talk about Mahjong? So I only talked about Mahjong.
Yeah.
Teaching Mahjong, right? And then another person, he gave the mic to, named Donovan, shout out to Donovan, told them about improv, told them about an open mic night that we host as well, and told him about the Philosophers Club that happens on Tuesday night that I'm not a part of at all. But the fact that he mentioned the open mic, which I do, and the improv, which I run, without me promoting it, without me, having to say anything or whatever, already puts us it's in the zeitgeist. It already exists. The owners already have heard of it. So it's not brand spanking new. It's
Right.
not like coming out of left field. You know what I mean? So yeah. And since I didn't mention it, that means there's other people vouching for it, which is also holds weight as well.
Yeah, always a plus. I had somebody some time ago reach out to me about, hey, when are you going to do a show in such and such an area? My response was, no plans at this point in time, but always open to it. Is there a venue there that you think would be ideal? Okay, great. I'm going to reach out to that venue. Do yourself a solid. Not do me a solid. Do yourself a solid. Next time you're there and you see somebody that might be part of this, ask them when the last time they had a hypnotist on this stage was. Oh, you haven't? You totally should. And I know a guy. And then you give them my info. I will have already reached out to them. That may even, if you're with the person who's checking the emails, that may actually spark a conversation. Tell them to pick up the phone and call me right there on the spot. I don't care. I answer my phone most of the time. Unless somebody calls me while I'm recording this podcast. And then I only answer it if it looks like it's going to be a scam call. And that's me just trying to put that onto the mic.
We still need our fucking with the spam caller on air event. Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, there are things in the future happening. I'm sure I mentioned already that we're looking at extending our stay here.
Yes.
And not heading back to Spain as early. And I'm starting to think in the process of that and what that means and how enveloped we get. By the way, our band has a name. I don't know if I mentioned it. We are Easy Peasy.
Oh, a new name. Okay.
Is the name? Yeah, we were the CGBGs, but we're now the Easy Peasy. We didn't like CGBGs. Well, our C left. Our C, who was Celine, left. She said it wasn't going in the direction she wanted, and it was this music project is what she called it. Celine is very French, so it wasn't the most tactful exit, whatever. But she did make it a point to let me know. Like, she messaged me directly. Let me know it's not because of you. And I went, I didn't think so. I was making it better. I think it was the addition of a fourth person, another singer that our guitarist Graham invited and what have you to grow. I thought he had the best answer to her question she posted in the band WhatsApp group. She posted wait, hold on, I want to get this exact because I want you to hear the Frenchiness of this.
Good.
This quote here. All right, so we're getting ready for a show. And I had just added Shar, shout out to Shar, to the group, and And we're bouncing around different names and things of that nature. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, although you've frozen.
My video's a little frozen, and that's okay. As long as the timer is still moving and my voice is coming in clear, I don't care about the image.
Let's do this. I want to drop in a little helpful something from our sponsors here, and maybe your video clears up while that's happening.
When I'm not listening to the Big Sexy Digital Nomad podcast, I'm sad. What helps? Cruising. My name is Bill, and I run Cruise Habit, a YouTube channel and website about cruising. Sometimes I'm vacationing, sometimes I'm doing the digital nomad thing from a ship, but whenever possible, I am cruising, or at least talking about cruising. I've got tips, tours, and more information to make sure you take the right cruise for you. Check out the channel and site by visiting cruisehabit.com/BSDN. That's cruisehabit.com/BSDN.
So nope, my camera has not returned.
That's all right, because your voice is still here, loud.
Yeah,
and
my
clear.
voice is still here. I can drop the camera, so that saves some energy, and just go to my pulsating image, which is always an interesting sight.
That's right. If you are a member of our Patreon, you are, or you're watching the live stream, it is you, it is me, and it is Big Sexy's throbbing head here.
Right here. So Celine's text to the group was, "Hi everyone. I'm not sure about what's happening here. Is it a choir project? What's the plan?" This was because we added one other person to the group chat.
Okay.
Graham, who kind of started the whole thing, replied back with collaboration. I thought that was the perfect answer. No more notes needed. I didn't need to add anything to it. That's what it was.
Right.
Yesterday, Celine left the group. Yeah, she sent me a message saying something to the effect of, she goes, "Hey, Big Sexy, just wanted to let you know that I'm stepping away from the music project. This has nothing to do with you. I've just decided it's not the right fit for me anymore. It was nice singing with you, and I wish you all the best with the group. Take care." So I wish Celine the best. I really did enjoy singing with her. I'm a little sad that she didn't have the kind of passion that we all have about the group. But we're easy peasy. We'll keep it moving. We'll keep it going.
And not everything's for everyone, that's for sure.
Yeah, not everything's for everyone, but I'm in a band, which which wasn't on the vision board. Right, wasn't in the big scheme of things, but I enjoy it and I'm loving it.
Yeah,
we're having a good time. We have open mic this coming Wednesday. We do an open mic every Wednesday where we kind of host it. And then I didn't do last Sunday's brunch, but I'll be doing next. No, I don't think we're doing next Sunday brunch either because Graham will be out of town. So I think our next official Sunday brunch may be in the beginning of December. We might kick it back up again. Looking at a calendar now, it'll be either in December or the last Sunday of. No. So this Sunday is the 17th.
Yeah.
Following Sunday is the 24th. So it might either be the 24th or the first Sunday in November. So we'll see. I'm December rather. We'll see. We'll see what it is. Yeah. Did you understand the name of our episode 112? Do you know what that is?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't think so. Are you familiar with the group 112?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. They are an R&B group from the 90s and the early aughts. And one of their hit songs was called Peaches and Cream.
Okay.
So I named this episode Beaches and Stream for the 112 fans, all of the 6 who are listeners of this podcast. Maybe we have more. I might keep it Beaches and Stream, or if we hit on something else, whatever. But yeah, it was because of episode 112. And 112 was one of my favorite bands back in the day. I love the music. They did that kind of slow, classic '90s hip hop and R&B esque sweet songs of love and sex and some bitches and hoes in there just for good measure.
Well, of course, you got to mix it in, keep it
Yeah,
interesting.
with the R&B, with a hip hop and R&B, that's the hip hop portion of it. The bitches and hoes is the hip hop portion, and the only you and you're my Cupid, and don't just because I tell you I love you doesn't mean I'm gonna cheat on you. Like what? But that's a good old fashioned '90s R&B songwriting back in the day.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
I
So
was no doubt a child of that era, that's for sure.
112 minutes. There we go. Yeah, I love it. Girl, if I told you I love you, that doesn't mean that I don't care. And when I tell you I need you, don't you think that I'll never be there? Baby, I'm so tired of the way you turn my words into deception and lies. Don't misunderstand me when I try to speak my mind. I'm only saying what's in my heart. Cupid doesn't lie, but you won't know unless you give it a try. Oh, baby, true love won't lie, but we won't know unless we give it a try. Yeah. Classic 90s R&B lyrics.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah. So we are looking at doing our passport run somewhere near the end of this month as well. I'm not sure exactly when, but we're looking at where we're going. We're either going to go to Orlando or we're going to hop over to California. What we're looking at right now is catching a flight from Cancun to Tijuana and then walking through the Tijuana hub into the San Diego hub.
Okay.
And then renting a car in San Diego and driving up to Riverside, spend a couple of days with mom, and then do that whole trip in reverse. The reason we want to go, to Riverside is to pick up shit. Like we need to get our second Mahjong set. Shout out to all the Cancun Mahjong players who have made our community huge. We had 17 people, counting Nilla and myself, in our house yesterday, all there to hang out and play Mahjong. We had a lot of first-time players. A lot of our first-time players went Mahjong, so they had a lot of good time, a lot of fun. We taught a bunch of people here how to play. It's been really exciting. So that Mahjong community is growing. I'm also looking for like a community center space that we can rent out and like everybody chip in, 50 to 100 pesos each weekend, and we host there, or we do we ask for a donation of up to 100 pesos and then split that amongst whoever hosts and us, so we can make a little money off it or whatever, so we can, pay for food and shit like that. The other big thing that I'm getting into, and I love that we, in the 45-minute mark, I guess this is the section C of the podcast. You know that they break up podcasts in sections?
I don't.
In segment. We don't either. But I was listening to an episode of ICS, like a back episode, and they mentioned I had this for the A segment or the B segment. And I went, you guys are breaking this shit up in segments? That's way more preparation than you sound like you're doing. So I guess they're doing it smooth, right? But then if you listen to it knowing that, you can kind of hear when they bring up other topics or they introduce new topics or whatever. And like in between when Jacob does the made up commercial that they do. Yeah. They actually are sponsored by those breakups of segments. And then their last segment, of course, is their jock versus nerd, their listener male jock versus nerd. Anyhow, that's them. This is us.
Speaking of which, and I know that you've got a thought that you're going to continue here, but
I'll try.
A little call to action. Can somebody out there link us up with a trivia podcast who will come and be a guest on here and just put us through a Big Sexy versus Me trivia contest? Not every episode, but let's just do one show.
Yeah. We had somebody, didn't we, back in the day? Wasn't there one person who said they wanted to do that with us, and then they kind of fell by the wayside?
Yeah, I think they had their own podcast and they were gonna come in and do a special episode with us. So if you're still out there and you're still doing that, or if you're still out there and you're not doing that but want to do it in the context of a special episode here, hit us up. You know where, you know
Yeah.
how.
Yeah, let us know. We would love that. Would be something we would be very thrilled to do and enjoy. We really look forward to doing so. But yeah. Oh, so
Segments.
the last new subject matter. I'll bring up. New thing I was looking at doing here in Playa is the platonic cuddle parties, and I don't know if I've mentioned that here.
No.
By the shock on your face.
No.
I see we have not had this discussion. Pre-pandemic, I was getting ready to become a professional cuddler, right? Somebody who goes to people and sits with them for a certain amount of time and just cuddles, does intimate, non-sexualized touching, right? It's for a lot of folks who are, lonely by themselves. They don't get the physical contact in their life from others. It's a hired service. I had the look on your face the first time I heard it because, people tell me my hugs are magical. That's one thing I put it in my bio. My hugs are magical. One person said, "Oh man, you need to hug professionally." And I laughed and they said, "No, I'm serious. They're professional cuddlers. You should 100% do this as a business." And I went, "Oh," so I looked into it. And sure enough, there's a couple sites. I'm not going to mention them because they're not paying us to mention them, but there are cuddle sites that will, train you on how to do that, give you tips and notes on how to become a professional cuddler. So that is the third business option that I'm going to do here in Playa and start get that up to start generating income is monetize my hugging.
I may need till next week's episode to digest this before I can respond.
It's amazing. And the reason why I'm looking at doing it again is, like I said, pre-pandemic, I was getting ready to. I was going through the process of adding it to Who is Big Sexy Entertainment and finalizing what the infrastructure is for business wise, and then the pandemic happened and nobody was touching anybody.
Right, of course.
So I thought the idea died on the vine, but now we're back in each other's face like ain't nothing changed. So and my hugs are still magical. So I'm definitely going to get back into it. I've had 3 people already tell me I should do that, and I was here. They're like, "Oh man," like one person like, "Oh man, I really need, I just need somebody to come over and give me a hug from time to time." And I was like, "Oh, there's somebody expressing a need," and we all know that I'm all about fulfilling needs. So yeah, I'm gonna engage in the big hugs is going to be the name of that portion of the business.
Listen, if anybody out there is still disillusioned to the thought that we map these episodes out and each of us is aware of what is going to come out of the other one's mouth, even if it's just bullet points, rewind the film because you'll know, no, we just do this. And there is no plan. And that one I certainly had no, like sometimes we'll be like, "Oh, hey, this is happening, so we should make sure we bring that up." Like we know the big news, so to speak, that I intend to talk about in the next episode after what has happened has actually happened. So that won't be a surprise to Big Sexy. All the rest of this stuff
yeah. We will oftentimes prior to start hitting record, not prior to setting up the studio, not prior to the day of, but on the day of, right before we hit record, we're like, wait, is there anything else we need to talk about? Like I will take notes on my phone. I held up my phone to a camera that's not on, by the way.
Yeah.
I will take notes on my phone about what I want to talk about, perhaps. If something happens throughout the week, I'll mention it. But a lot of times, I don't know what's about to come out my mouth, not 10 seconds before I say it. That's why a lot of times I'll have a "oh yeah" moment in the vocalization of whatever's about to happen, because oh yeah, this thought just hit my head that I wanted to talk about that I didn't tell nobody that I wanted to talk about, like me becoming a professional cuddler. So stay tuned. I might add that that to my resume.
That is not something that if you had said, hey, what are the 5 most obscure things that you might talk about on the podcast at any point in time in year 3 would have made the list. I
Right.
would not have come up with that at all. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so stay tuned. You got a lot of stuff to talk about next week. Yeah, but in this week I have on my to-do list. I did buy another whiteboard, so I started making my to-do list. But on my to-do list is to set up the infrastructure on how to book, how to schedule, and get paid for those services. Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I also have quite a few interviews scheduled and coming up, so stay tuned for those. The bonus episodes will start getting back to interviews I've done here in Playa that I'm doing here in Playa. So stay tuned for those. Any new listeners we have, welcome to the podcast. We thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. I want to mention, as you heard the ad earlier, please be sure to check out our sponsors at cruisehabit.com. We appreciate them so much for sponsoring the podcast. They've been invaluable, very helpful for all the things that we're doing. So thank you so much. Shout out to Billy and Larissa for sponsoring us. Please go to cruisehabit.com/BSDN or cruisehabit.com/bigsexy. That'll take you to their site. They have a lot of information on cruising, cruise lines. They set up group cruises from time to time. They're always doing that kind of stuff. So be sure to go over there. Tell them Big Sexy sent you, and let them know we really sincerely do appreciate that. And always swing over to our merch store, which is whereisbigsexy.com. We just uploaded some new images. Like I uploaded the Big Sexy Judge 24. Speaking of the election, we uploaded a Big Sexy Judge 24 shirt to show your true political support. We'll have to make another one we should make one of those. Just change the number every year.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. Why not? Until we get voted into whatever people think we are qualified for.
And speaking of being really, really lazy about it, I want to offer everybody an opportunity to be super, super lazy. Not really to be lazy, but to join us on the magical Elkton Magic Cruise, April 13th through 20th, where you're going to be able to just sit back and relax, enjoy yourself on a nice little vacation, see some magical acts, maybe even an interactive comedy show that I will be doing.
Nice. That's a magical cruise.
Yeah, go with lisa.com/group/Elkton Magic.
Yeah, be sure to check that out. And of course, we always welcome you to go to our bullwiththebutthole.com. Subscribe to the Patreon if you want to see back behind the scenes video. I've been putting up a lot of stuff recently. Like I put up the video of my Toastmaster speech. I put up a video of I put together a showcase of the last live music gig that we did. I'll put that video up there as well. And it's available to all our paid Patreon subscribers. You can subscribe for as low as $1 a month. And I think if you subscribe for the full year, you get like 10% off.
I think that's normally the move there
as well. So I recommend just subscribe for the full year. It's really inexpensive. If you want to make a big splash and get access to a lot more stuff and have more interaction and more control of what we do, you can subscribe at a higher tier. There's a tier that allows you to have me create any parody song to any song of your choice and subject matter of your choice. Give that to me and I will write a parody song for that. I'm happy to do so. Coming up soon, you're going to hear on the Patreon. This is a notice. I'm going to put up the music and recording of the first song that we created with Easy Peasy. Our
nice.
official band, we actually wrote a song, and I'm going to record it and put that up on the Patreon as well. That'll be available for sale. Easy Peasy's first single, and also I talked to Graham about making a music video for it at some point in time. We meet a lot of videographers out here, so I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, we appreciate y'all. Anything you gotta let folks know, Judge?
You want to see me? A lot of what's on my schedule is either private appearances or a couple of things that are starting to show up on my schedule is that nonprofits are booking me to be the entertainment at some pre-existing galas. So there are going to be, if they're not already there, I have not checked to see if he did all the updates yet. But the judgmentalist.com website is going to have some gala type events. So if you see a ticket for a show that I'm doing that costs over $100, it's most likely because there's going to be some sort of a dinner presentation. It's likely affiliated with some sort of a great nonprofit. So a bunch of your money is going to support that cause. And then I'm going to be the entertainment for the evening doing my hypnosis show. So check those out. Most of them are in the Maryland or Delaware area. But if you're interested or know an organization that would like to slide me into something like that, by all means, that's the kind of stuff I love to do. And the big stuff that if it happens that I'm going to be talking about next week shouldn't get in the way of that. It's going to definitely cram up some elements of my schedule, but I should still be able to do the full slate of all of my desirable fundraiser shows without too much restriction. So that'll be a plus.
Awesome sauce. I want to give a big shout out to all of our listeners on Instagram who joined the live today, and the two people who joined, or the one person who joined in Twitch. Thank you so much for popping in today. We love y'all. Peace out. And in the meantime, safe travel.
Safe travels.